Hi everyone, and welcome to Unit 5 of the course. I can't believe we are already here at Unit 5, so I know that the rest of the semester is going to fly by. So for Unit 3, everything has already been graded. I know that I made an announcement about that. All of Unit 4 will be graded by the time 11/5 comes and you're going to submit Unit 5. So, make sure that you're going and looking at like any feedback or your grades, because there has been some people where Brightspace is not compatible with Pages. And I know that a lot of us use MacBooks, right? And so we utilize Pages primarily, unless we download, Microsoft on the computer separately. So Brightspace and Pages are not compatible. So I've been having to leave some feedback on people's assignments and saying, hey, please convert this to like a PDF, which you should be able to do through Pages, and then, email it to me for grading. So just make sure that you're taking a look at all the feedback and all of your grades, just so you're not at the end of the semester and like, holy crap, this is all the feedback that I got for the entire semester, and then you're kind of like scrambling to find everything. So in short, check your grades, check the feedback, all that good stuff. So for Unit 5, what we are going to be talking about are some of the like specialty and creative counseling professions. So we're going to talk about counselors in the expressive arts, organizational counseling, and then pastoral counseling. So as you can tell probably by the names, like each of these are definitely very different and kind of like their own realm of counseling that's different from what we would traditionally see. So what we're going to do, let's talk a little bit about counselor in the expressive arts. So these are your art therapists. So these individuals do typically have a license, so they are licensed art therapists. When we take a look at organizational counselors and pastoral counselors, they don't necessarily have like their own licensure or certification. A lot of pastoral counselors are like LMHCs who specialize in pastoral counseling and stuff like that, but no license specific that I'm aware of for pastoral counselors. Organizational counselors are very similar to organizational psychologists, and this field has been emerging a lot within the last 10 years or so. These individuals don't typically function as one, a therapist or a counselor that we would typically think of. So organizational counselors work for organizations. They are not necessarily like organizational counselors that come in and do therapy or anything like that. They come from more of like an HR perspective, if you will, where they're taking a look at job retention, what's going well with the organization, what's not going well in an organization, and that kind of thing. So they're doing a lot of data and taking a look about employee behavior. And pastoral counselors, those are more faith-based counselors. So you'll read, listen, and watch a lot of things about all three of those. So for Unit 5, you're going to read Helkowski chapters 7, 9, and 10. Watch a short YouTube video on organizational counseling. You're going to read a supplemental article, complete the Unit 5 assignment, complete journal number 3, and then complete quiz number 3. For the supplemental article, again, what I want to remind you is that you don't have to go through and read word for word of this research article. I did not learn how to read research articles until I was in grad school, so I don't expect you to know. If you do know, that's fantastic. I know that I didn't know, so that's not my expectation. What I want you to do is I want you to read the intro. I want you to read the introduction, find out, what they're studying, why they're studying it, and how they're doing it. And then you can go all the way to the end and read the discussion, because that's going to kind of break down for you in nicer terms or more understandable terms what they found from the study. So just the beginning and the end, you don't have to worry about all the data and all those fancy, statistics and stuff in the middle. So that should hopefully make things a little bit easier for you. You're going to complete the Unit 5 assignment, complete journal reflection number 3, and then complete quiz number 3. So for the journal reflection, this will be most helpful if you have been employed before. If not, feel free to use like a volunteer opportunity, an internship, something like that, or maybe something that you've heard from your friends, maybe something that you've witnessed, in your family, that kind of thing. So the question for the reflection is, What experiences have you encountered while working at a job that makes you wonder if any organizational counselor has ever studied or evaluated it for an organization? What does your experience suggest about how and why certain work-related topics do get selected to be researched and evaluated? One of the biggest things, and feel free to use this example and kind of reword it and, kind of put your own experience in this, is a lot of organizational psychologists are looking at retention. So, I often come into jobs and I wonder, what makes people leave? Why is this position open? Why are there a lot of positions open? Or, I noticed that there's not a lot of positions open. Something must be working really well here. Use that as kind of your example if you want to for the general reflection. For quiz number 3, there's only 10 questions. So I'm gonna give you answers to 2 of the ones that I've noticed students really struggle with over the years. The first one is, according to Halkowski, the average median income for a pastoral counselor in 2016 was. The answer here is none of the above. I know that the textbook lists, I think, like between 25 and 30, but that was for like a general sense. It actually says specifically for 2016 that information was unavailable. So the answer is none of the above. And then the other one that's kind of tricky is counselors in expressive arts may also be categorized as. The answer is recreational therapists. This is definitely a trick question in a way because we know art therapists to also be creative therapists, expressive therapists, and art therapists. Those are all true. But the text specifically refers to them as recreational therapists. So I didn't really like the way that one was worded. So both of those, the answers that I gave you were 3 points. Almost all the other ones except for 2 are worth 2. So there's a free 6 points out of the 25-point quiz. So the last thing I wanted to touch on was just briefly touching on the advocacy paper, because I know we have Unit 6 and then we have the Thanksgiving break, which I give you 2 weeks for, and then the conclusion unit, which is when the advocacy paper is due, and that unit's only a